Scream terrifies the box office, Warner ditches Netflix, and so much more in this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting edition of Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, we have some big news to share with the people for the next few weeks. Next week, it's officially March. We have our Oscars predictions coming up next week. Following that, the first time you're hearing it here first, ladies and gentlemen, the live stream. We're doing our first official Beyond the Screen live stream, a watch along. Yes, clap along, ladies and gentlemen. The first watch along of the Oscars itself. If you like the Oscars, but you want more of a play-by-play, you like our beautiful voices, and you want to hear us kind of go back and forth and banter the entire night, join us on YouTube as we live stream a good watch along. We'll be watching the Oscars. We'll be giving our opinion and keeping up with who won what and see which one of us was more accurate in our predictions. So, Jake, anything you want to tell the people about our live stream and before that, next week, our Oscar predictions?
It's literally free. I don't know why you wouldn't. But
yeah, it's better than hearing anything else throughout that night, you know?
Right. There's nothing else on.
Right. I mean, you could turn on the Oscars, but why would you when you could just hear us talking about the Oscars? You could just, like the radio.
Yeah, literally like the radio. We can't show the Oscars.
Yeah, we get in trouble for that. Nope. Yeah, we can't do that. But
what if we put it like really small on the bottom? Like, what if we use a mirror and like?
What if we just happen to show it in a mirror? It wasn't on purpose, but there's this giant mirror between us that's obviously placed for optimal viewing.
Yeah. Well, it's like I can't help it. The mirror stuck there. Yes. We're in the bathroom.
We're just in a hallway. There's a bathroom on the end, and you could just happen to see it streaming throughout the back. No, join us. So sadly, you won't be able to watch it from our stream, but join us March 15th. I think the Oscars start at 7, so we're going to start about half an hour before that to kind of get set up and get ready to go to remind you of our predictions and kind of talk about like a little pre-show. And then we're going to get you through the Oscars. We'll have commercial breaks and everything, as in like we'll be right back breaks, not like actual commercial breaks, but we'll have breaks and everything. It'll be a full broadcast. So we're excited. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Turn it on and then turn the Oscars on. Like turn us. Yeah. Together. And then watch them like you're alone, right? In your small apartment. It's gray and dreary. But you could turn us on like on your phone.
Yes.
And then watch the Oscars on your screen. And it's like you're having an Oscars party.
Yes. What I would think
I'll bring the charcuterie board. You can bring the drinks.
I'll drink the non-alcoholic grape juice, the wine that's not alcoholic or whatever. But what I would say, if it were me, which I know this is a little off topic, I would totally have like the live stream on one, like us, and the volume turned up on that, and on the other screen on my dual monitor setup I have because I'm a pro gamer. But on my other setup, I would have just the live stream of like the Oscars on ABC and just turn down that volume, and then you could just hear us because that's what you want to do, right? You want to just watch us, a watch along.
Definitely.
Yes.
What I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. I will too. I'll turn it on. You'll see my phone set up, and it'll be us talking to each other, watching myself. Talk to Jake
with a 5-second delay.
Yeah, of course. It'd be even better is if you could like kind of hear it in the background. Like you could kind of like we turn up the volume on the phone. Yeah. Anyway, anywho, we'd love to see you guys there. We'd love to have some interaction with you guys. Comment on the live stream. Again, it'll be here on YouTube. So again, we very much so look forward to it. Jake, what's been going on with you, man? Anything you want to talk about before we get into?
I hung out with Ryan. That's it.
Tell us about that experience.
Well, to make all this lovely stuff possible, we set up the podcast setup in my living room, and it turned out pretty good. We don't have to buy anything, so budget 0.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Anyway,
other than what we already bought, or like snacks wise, I guess if we're gonna eat. I guess we won't be eating on the show, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But that was a success. That happened Sunday, but I didn't really do much Saturday, so it was just basically that.
Yeah. That was my weekend.
Yeah.
That's
Looking
all I did.
forward to that.
Yes. Yeah. We ran a lot of logistical tests and just trying to figure out how things should lay just within the room and how the live stream will kind of pan out. We listened. The audio sounds fine from our end. So hopefully, again, it will sound that way when we record in 2 weeks. But with that out of the way, thank you so much for, again, tuning in to Beyond the Screen. Again, next week, Oscar predictions. And then we end the season with a live stream watch along of the Oscars themselves, Sunday, March 15th. So be there. With that out of the way, we're going to hop into our quick micro segment, which is always, what are we drinking? We answer the age-old question of what are we partaking to get us through the night? Let us know down below what you're drinking to get through this episode of Beyond the Screen. And with that out of the way, we bring forth Emily from behind the curtain, our lovely director, to tell us, what is she drinking?
Hi, Ryan. This week I'm drinking Diet Sprite. It had ice, but now it is melted. Jake.
Watered down, no caffeine, no sugar, Sprite. Crazy.
I
I'm
had
drinking. What's up?
To be fair, I had 2 mugs of straight espresso,
Ooh.
and then I had 2 things of Diet Dr. Pepper after that, and I don't feel too good, so I'm having some no caffeinated beverage right now. So continue.
I have an Alani. This is my second Alani and my third energy drink today, and something very special just for you guys. A cup of ramen.
I want you
Yes.
guys to know at home that he asked us if he could do that. He's like, I'm hungry. Can I put my ramen in a cup and that be what I'm drinking? And I just said, sure.
Sorry, I actually gagged seeing that. So
I love how it's just ramen. It's just a cup
It's
of
not
ramen.
moving either. Like I have to drink all the water just to get it. Yeah.
thank God that's over.
I
Ryan.
love overly. There's too much salt content in that water too. It's just kind of artificially chicken flavored with a lot of salt water in there, and that is going to be his reward for drinking that, as he gets the straight, nice, fake chicken flavor. He don't mind it.
He's just gonna be pretending to drink it, and then a bunch of noodles are just gonna fall into his face because it's gonna get unstuck.
I'm actively trying to get this last bit.
I guess at that point, he's just drinking chicken broth, warm chicken broth at this point, which is a thing that people do. That is not abnormal. Not as abnormal as you think.
I eat cream of chicken like a normal soup.
I bet that'd be good with like garlic bread or something, like dip, just to dip
Yeah.
in.
You just got to make sure you blend it up because you get the chunks of goo.
Yeah.
Ryan, what are you drinking,
That's
dude?
a very appetizing way to describe that you eat all the time. I'm drinking coffee. My normal black coffee to get me through. Again, as I say every week, I inject that caffeine right into my veins, and I get going. I get moving, baby. I have no time for your earthly pleasures of cream and whatever flavors you throw in there. Nope. Donut shop, straight to the cup, into my veins, and we're good to go. And that has been What Are We Drinking?
Nasty.
What are we drinking, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for partaking. Again, leave your comments down below of what you're drinking, whether it be black coffee or Diet Sprite or ramen. And let us know, because we want to know. And in any case, we will now move in to our first official segment. Jake, every time you do that, it distracts me a little bit. Your glasses are fogging up because of how hot that thing is. That's crazy right now. Anyway, for our audio listeners, he had his cup of hot ramen up to his face and his glasses were just straight fogged. Anyway, we'll get into our first segment, which, as always, is box office news. We're going to start with last week, actually. We're going to talk about our predictions. So starting off this week, my predictions were Scream 7, Goat at 2, Wuthering Heights at 3, Crime 101 at 4, and Send Help at 5. Jake had a very similar 1 through 3, Scream 7, Goat, and Wuthering Heights as me, with Crime 101 at 4, so both of our top 4s were the exact same coming into this week. And he had Epic, Elvis Presley in Concert at number 5. Let's take a look at how we did for our visual watchers. I got 3 out of 5, getting the first 3 correct, and just barely missing on number 4 and number 5. We'll describe what those two are here in a minute. Jake, a second strong week for the guy, going 4 out of 5 after going 3 of 5 last week. Jake's on a hot streak, getting 1 through 3, Scream 7, Goat, and Wuthering Heights correct, and the number 5 at Epic, Elvis Presley in Concert correct. This is not the end of our predictions, ladies and gentlemen. For those who are new and uninitiated, we have Jimmy, who we love. Jimmy's a bot. Jimmy is just straight up chat GPT, who we ask, search the internet, scour the internet, and tell us what you predict the top 5 to be. And it does give us some pretty deep breakdowns as to why, but he usually is wrong. Is he wrong this week? Let's take a look at what Jimmy predicted. Scream 7 at 1. He had Elvis Presley in concert at number 2. Goat falling to 3. Wuthering Heights at 4. And I Can Only Imagine 2 sticking in the top 5 at number 5 for Jimmy. How did Jimmy fare? Not great. Jimmy got 1 out of 5 correct, and that being Scream 7. The only one he got correct was number 1. And with that, let's reveal the official top 5 for this past weekend. The top 5s are as follows. Scream 7 at 1, Goat at 2, Wuthering Heights at 3, 21 Pilots, More Than We Ever Imagined, another concert film breaking into the top 5 at number 4, and then Elvis Presley in concert at number 5. Elvis was beat out by 21 Pilots, and nobody saw this coming. We'll get into that here in a little bit, but 21 Pilots breaks into the top 5 in a shocker. Let's go back to the top and let's break down those numbers. I'm alone. Again, Jake's gone, and it'll just be me. Don't worry, I know this is what you wanted anyway. Let me break down this top 5 for you, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 is Scream 7, debuting at $64.1 million domestically and $97.2 million globally, all on a budget of $45 million. Out-earning even the best of predictions by nearly $10 million, Spyglass Media survives a prospective boycott to earn the best opening in the storied franchise's history and becoming the best February horror opening of all time. There was a lot going around the internet to say to avoid this for what happened to Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. Boycott this film, and those cries went on to deaf ears because many a person went to go see this, the best opening for a Scream film in the franchise's history. While all things are good for now for Spyglass, for Paramount, and so on and so forth, the film earned a sluggish B- on the post-track cinema score, audience reviews, and an even worse 34% from the Rotten Tomato meter. I think its popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes is in the mid 70s, so 75, which is better than average for these horror films. So it kind of depends on who you're talking to, it seems. But most critics seem to not really like the direction of this film. The Rotten Tomatoes synopsis of the film is, quote, when a new Ghostface killer emerges in the quiet town where Sydney has built a new life, her darkest fears are realized as her daughter becomes the next target. Determined to protect her family, she must face the horrors of her past to put an end to the bloodshed once and for all. The thing is, they say once and for all, there's going to be an 8th. They made way too much money.
Oh, yeah.
Way too much money for them not to continue this franchise that just seemingly will never have an end. Neve Campbell will be back. They'll find a way to bring Matthew Lillard back for a 3rd time. And there will be a Scream 8. With that, let's go ahead and continue down the line. Finishing second, as we'd said before, is Goat in its 3rd weekend in theaters, earning $12 million domestically over the weekend with a global tally thus far of $130.5 million. Showing some true staying power, Sony's Underdog Story only dropped 29% in ticket sales from week to week, which in its 3rd week is crazy. In animation, these family-friendly animations continue to prove, whether it's anime, whether it's Sony, and anywhere in between, prove time and time again that they have the staying power that blockbusters had for the past decade. So again, Goat remains in the top 3 with a under 30% drop, which is ridiculous. Finishing 3rd, and it's also in its 3rd week, is Wuthering Heights, with $6.7 million earned domestically to bring its global tally up to $192 million. Unlike the former, Wuthering Heights dropped 50% in ticket sales, so we're seeing a steeper dive for the Wuthering Heights fans everywhere. While not the best feat, it's still doing very well overseas. While it's falling off here, the film has pulled in on its $192 million earned globally. Of that was $119.7 million earned internationally. That's insane to me. Of its 192, 100 and almost 20 came from overseas. On to 4th. Here we go. 21 Pilots, More Than We Ever Imagined, debuts to $3.7 million domestically. Again, this is a bit of a shocker. It steals the top 5 spot. Again, beating out Elvis Presley in concert, which will describe why that's so shocking. Jake, I want to ask you this. Why do we think 21 Pilots, which only opened to domestic theaters, it didn't open internationally, this was a concert film from their February 2025 Mexico City headliner, why do we think this film popped off in the way it did? Why do we think this concert film surpassed Elvis? Where did it come from? What's going on?
I think 21 Pilots is huge to the young folk, and Ryan, you're just not part of that.
I like 21 Pilots. I wouldn't say I'm their biggest fan. Like I'm not like
Oh yeah,
I'm
what's
not
their latest album called?
Not a clue. I did listen
Yep.
to Trench back in 2020, 2019 or whatever, the one with the crow on it. That one was pretty good. But then they had one after that that I just didn't like. It was not very good. It was like
One that
blue
was
and,
upbeat,
it was blue and purple or blue and pink or whatever. I don't
Scaled and Icy.
Is that what it was called? I didn't like that one. I remember it just I tried listening through it and it just wasn't for me. And then I kind of they fell off for me a little bit. My music taste changed a little. So it's not like I dislike. I like the lore that Trench was like with Blurryface and that Trench as an album kind of like puts a cap on the story that the original song Blurryface or Stressed Out kind of painted, right? Like they have that character and there's a whole city that these people are trying to escape. It's very fascinating from the lore standpoint of that album and kind of what they had in their music leading up to that album. But then after that, I don't know. It just felt like they kind of fell off. Like at least in the next album, I have no idea if they've released an album past Ice. What was it? Iced and Scaly or whatever.
Scaled and Icy.
Scaled and Icy. What was the one after that? I don't know that album at all, but I've heard it's okay. Or have they not released one after that?
They have.
Okay.
Albums. They did an Unplugged. They did some singles here and there, and then they dropped Clancy in 2024. And then they did a few more singles, and then they dropped Breach in 2025, and now they're doing singles again.
Okay. I feel like whenever I don't want to say like when a band's fallen off, they start doing unplugged or best of albums, but that's usually what happens. So
I'm not best of, but yeah, they did an unplugged of something. MTV Unplugged.
Okay, so yeah, Clancy is a full album. It's about 44 minutes. Okay, maybe I'll give it a listen. But anywho,
yeah, I like Scaled and Icy for those 21 Pilots lovers out there. Ryan's just a hater, and I have not listened to anything since.
Wasn't for me, man. I'm sorry, it wasn't for me. Not like it was all terrible, but it just wasn't my favorite album they've ever put out. But anyway, something that I find fascinating about this is that they had no marketing other than maybe to their own fan base, and that earned them a top 5 spot in the box office alone. I wonder if this is how Markiplier, like when people saw Iron Lung, for those who didn't know Markiplier, is this how they felt? Where it was like, where'd this come from?
Yeah. We knew.
Well, of course we knew because we're chronically online and we grew up in that age where he was making his name. But for those who weren't online chronically or who are older than us who might not have known, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm interested to see the parallels there. Drop a comment if you are of that audience because I'd like to see your perspective on that. But anyway, I just find it fascinating because what finished 5th, again, we're going to move on, but I do want to draw these parallels. 21 Pilot beat Elvis. After Elvis had a fantastic opening weekend last week, they earned in their second weekend $3.5 million domestically with a global tally of $14.3 million. Despite that strong debut I was describing last week, Epic only saw a 9% increase in ticket sales despite an almost 1,000 theater increase from last week. They went from 300-something theaters to 1,200, and they only raised 9% in ticket sales from week to week. What does that tell you about what people think about this Elvis Presley and concert doc or this like concert film? No one really cared outside of those who went the opening weekend.
Right. I don't know. That or Scream 7 came out, right? Everybody who saw Scream 1 is that age.
They're all that age.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see the parallels between Scream fans and Elvis Presley fans because that is an odd correlation. Let me see here. Let me go to, what is this one? Here we go. Let me look at how many theaters 21 Pilots was in. 21 Pilots was only in 833 theaters this past weekend. So they beat a film that was in, I apologize. Elvis Presley didn't raise almost 1,000 theaters. They raised over 1,600 theaters from last week.
I thought it was 2,000.
It was closer to 2,000.
They raised,
Yeah, it was closer to 2,000 theaters for Elvis, and it only raised 9% and lost out to a film that only had 833 theaters. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Elvis? in 21 Pilots as an extension before we move on past our top 5. Sorry, what'd you say?
I like Elvis more, but
Bros,
just-
I grew up on Lilo and Stitch and also 21 Pilots, so I can't really hate either of them. So I'm happy that they're, I guess, $200,000 separate. But anyway,
Elvis is more, I guess, long term or timely. I don't know.
timeless.
Evergreen.
Yeah.
Timeless. Anyway.
Other news from around the box office: Crime 101, I Can Only Imagine 2, and Send Help all drop from the top 5. And How to Make a Killing, the Glenn Powell leading A24 film, drops by more than 50%, sliding all the way down to 9th after barely missing the top 5 last weekend in its second weekend in theaters. And that continues a very troubling trend for Glenn Powell, who was also in Running Man by Edgar Wright late last year, that also did not do very well in the box office. So, Jake, before we get into the prediction side, tell me about what you think about the box office. Is there anything that catches your eye beyond the top 5, or maybe even still in the top 5? Maybe it's something we missed.
The Revenant came out and it got a 10th anniversary. Can you believe it's been 10 years since
That's
The
crazy.
Revenant came out? 22nd place, 200 theaters. Just a small little re-release there. And then we've got, they've been showing the Oscar-nominated short films in some theaters, and I wonder if that's somewhere near us. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
And then there's an anime that made top 15. It's at 13th. That made almost $1 million on 600 theaters, which is crazy to say because not many more theaters and you would have beat How to Make a Killing. Like you would have been top 10.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of this.
Pretty derby, beginning of a new era is that anime that Jake is talking about.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of her.
Anyway.
I will say something that I find interesting too is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die continuing at 16, continuing into a top 20 film. One that people talk about a lot as being fantastic. I'm pretty sure this is Gore Verbinski. Let me see. I don't see his name on here, but I'm pretty sure that's who directed that one. And then another one I see a lot of is Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which is a spoof from an old internet show, kind of like a web series. And then that became like, I don't think it was Adult Swim, but it became like an actual series, and now it's a movie. Apparently that film is fantastic, whether or not you've kept up with it all these years or not. So go see those films. Don't just watch the top 10 in the box office.
That anime Uma Musume is they're all they're horses.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like it's like anime characters, but like I was looking at it's literally like the Kentucky Derby. Like it looks like it. Everything's the same. Like the gates, and like there's a trailer on AMC's website where it's like the thumbnail is one of the people in the gates, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she's sitting on the horse. No, the part of the movie's like artwork is like them running, and I'm like, oh,
oh no,
they're the horse. There's no rider either. That they're like, yeah, interesting.
See, we could go down a rabbit hole with animes, man. Like, I don't know if we want to do that, but I will say for our fans out there who might also enjoy that medium, Jake just showed
Not
me
in the public.
Jake just showed me Free Ren just yesterday. I got to see the first episode. That's a good one. That one, I look forward to that. Right now, I'm getting through Gachi Akuta, and then I think Free Ren might be after that. But we'll see.
Or Attack on Titan.
Or Attack on Titan. Yeah.
You be throwing that around.
I haven't finished that one. Okay, I'm sorry, but we'll get to it. I'm new to the genre. But anywho, beyond the top 15, 20 in the box office, we have our prediction special. We're going to predict this upcoming weekend slate of films, and we're going to say what we think will come 1 through 5. So, Jake, hit us up here. What's your top 5?
Okay, we've got a kids movie. It is Hoppers. It's the one where the girl switches her brain into a robotic beaver that they've 3D printed and is pretty darn real looking. And I assume that she's going to save the wilderness through a beaver's body. Should be great. I think it's going to be up there in terms of several millions. And then That's gonna beat it out. That's gonna beat everybody else out. And then I've got Scream 7 at 2. I don't think it's gonna drop that bad. Because I mean it cleared 63, so it's gonna get at most 60% drop. I don't think it'll do a 70% drop. I think 60 is kind of out there. People now want to go see it because everybody's poo-pooing on it. And so I think it'll be somewhere in the 30s, which will allow Hoppers to take it over at 1. And then for number 3, I've got The Bride. I've gotten a lot of marketing on The Bride, and I think that Christian Bale and I forget her name. Do you know her name?
I cannot think of the actual lead of the film, who's the bride, which is terrible of us. But
I got it.
It's directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, which she always comes out with. She's a fantastic director. So we'll come up with that name here in a second.
I am. And then I've got GOAT, just moving on down the line. I think that it's got some staying power with the young kiddos. Jesse Buckley is the name.
Yes.
And then a re-release of Demon Slayer the movie. I think that's going to come in at 5 and make a nice 5-ish million, probably 5 to 10 maybe. So if I go back, yep, that's what I think. I think Wuthering Heights is out of here. I got GOAT at like 6 million. Demon Slayer 5-ish. The Bride's going to come up probably double digits. 10, 12, could be teens. And then The Bride's going to be, I said The Bride, Scream 7, 30 million. And then Hopper's is probably going to be up at 45. That's my predictions.
Yeah, I generally agree with you. I just have a few things like flip-flopped. And our fives, our fifth places are completely different. But I also agree, Hoppers, I think that what I just explained earlier with Sony's GOAT, I think that this will be a very similar trajectory. It is another Disney. While it has that bean mouth animation that we always trash on every time we talk about animation on this show, it looks like it's got that Zootopia type humor. It looks like it's got that type of animation style. It looks very familiar to what the brand has established themselves, modern day Pixar has established themselves as, or Pixar / Disney. I think that this one will just be, again, as we had described earlier, Hoppers. The family-friendly animation film has dominated the market these past 5 years, and it will continue to do so because they're easy to go watch, to go rewatch, and you can buy more, get more bang for your buck if you're a family. So anyway, Hoppers at 1. I have The Bride at 2 simply because it's gotten so much hype. With Jesse Buckley, with Christian Bale, with Maggie Gyllenhaal, all the points you had made is exactly why I think it's at 2. I think it has had a great campaign for the marketing. On top of, it's going to be in IMAX theaters. It's got this huge rollout, a lot like Hoppers. I think The Bride will finish second. Then I have GOAT. I have every reason why Hoppers is at 1. And I know you got a similar demographic. You've got Hoppers and GOAT competing for the same audience. I just think you're more likely to get, if you're going to get 2 of the same audience pool in the top 3, it's going to be this style of animation. It's going to be this family-friendly type. I think GOAT stays at 3 with its long legs that it's had, and it will continue its run in the box office. Then I have Scream 7 at 4. Usually these horror films, they do not do well after a fall off, and this film being so lowly rated by critics and by certain fans alike, I think it's just going to careen. Usually horror films do anyway, like you had described, 50% or more. I think it will probably hit that 60 mark, and it will be below GOAT. And then lastly, I have Wuthering Heights at 5. I just don't think Demon Slayer stayed in the box office for a long time to end 2025. I don't think it will have the legs in a re-release to pop back up into the top 5, especially whenever you have films like we have right now. So I think Wuthering Heights will have not much more staying power. I think it leaves after next week, but I think it's got one more week in it where it will really stick around.
You're wrong. Moving on. No, I don't think we Jimmy was pretty close to me and saying that Hoppers, actually I guess he was closer to Ryan. Hoppers at 1, The Bride at 2, Scream 7 at 3, and then Protector at 4. So Protector is a movie releasing as well by Magenta Light Studios, starring Mila Jokovic, which is the Resident Evil actress. Is probably what she's mainly known for, is playing Alice. All of them that Alice is in, she plays Alice. So this is she plays Nikki, a veteran war hero. Thought she'd left her violent past behind for a peaceful life with her daughter until her daughter is kidnapped by a human trafficking ring that forces the main character into the city's criminal underground on a relentless pursuit. So this is a Taken style movie. I don't think it's gonna get top 5, but Jimmy believes so. Jimmy thinks that Mila Jokovic will pull this in, and then it's got GOAT at 5. So no Wuthering Heights, no Demon Slayer. It's got Protector at 4.
What a crazy pull. It
Sometimes.
usually does. It usually does have one. And we run this joke on the show that since we've run Jimmy, he's either been 5 of 5 or 0 of 5. He's very rarely gotten in the middle. 1 of 5 this week is a good mark for him. So,
but he's gotten the most right, or most full royal flushes.
Yeah. There's a saying from where I'm from. It's a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Like I really think we just got lucky with him twice.
And the squirrels that can see, we're starving.
What are they? I mean, there's another phrase for that too. It's broken clocks right twice a day. Like I don't know. I don't necessarily believe it's Jimmy being good. I think it's just Jimmy got lucky. I think that we have a better spread. I'd much rather be lucky than good. You're right, but we have a better spread. We're more likely to get 3 or 4 correct out of 5 than 5 out of 5. But
I think we're thinking too much.
I don't think so at all. I think we're doing very good. But anyway, that's going to end our first segment. Coming up after the break, Warnamount has officially arrived. Let's talk about it after the break. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 2, which is always our major news segment. We're going to break down. If you've been living under a rock, you probably didn't hear about this. However, you're not under a rock. You're not Patrick. This is not Bikini Bottom. You're above the water, and you've heard about Paramount officially acquiring Warner Brothers. That's right. Warner Brothers scorns Netflix, a scorned lover, sad and in the distance, leaves Netflix for Paramount. Let's talk about it. Following the 10th bid, Jake, 10th bid for the entirety of Warner Brothers Discovery, Warner announced that Paramount's offer was finally superior to Netflix's $83 billion offer after they agreed to in December. So remember, backstory. Warner and Netflix have been tied since December. They didn't stop listening to offers from Warner or from Paramount. Now Warner has chosen Paramount's superior offer after months and months and months of bets and here. Anyway, after initially being given a 4-day period to counter, Netflix officially removed their name from the hat that was the Warner Brothers sweepstakes, a move reportedly praised by the investment community, which I don't know if you were interested in that, but apparently Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters are being praised from having restraint following, again, them being scorned. All meaning Paramount has officially won the war for now. We'll get into that here in a second. According to NPR, Netflix outlined why they didn't raise their offer in an official statement, stating, quote, "We've always been disciplined, and at the price required to match Paramount Skydance's latest offer, the deal is no longer financially attractive, so we are declining to match the Paramount Skydance bid." To show just how quickly things changed, Netflix was, just earlier in February, preparing to wholeheartedly fight the government for regulatory approval. They were taking up arms and they were ready to battle the FCC to make their claim and make their stake into why they should definitely have Warner Brothers, challenging Paramount along the way to make a better offer. So they had a lot of confidence, not only to gear up and fight the government, antitrust laws and all, but they were actively, Ted Sarandos was actively saying, Paramount, if you really want it, make a better offer, which they did. Then, according to Variety, Warner oddly asked for a waiver from Netflix in order to negotiate with Paramount. Something that Netflix they honored. They allowed them to do so. As Netflix is trying to get their ducks in a row, they're getting all of their guns in order to battle the government in the FCC. Warner's like, hey, can we still talk to Paramount? And Netflix is like, okay, I guess. Just hours before Paramount and Warner Brothers made it official this past Thursday, Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos was in the White House sitting across from Attorney General Pam Bondi, describing why a Netflix takeover of Warner Brothers was viable. Let this sink in. Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix, was in the White House trying to convince White House officials that Netflix was right for Warner Brothers hours before Warner Brothers turned to Paramount, which shows just how quickly this deal fell through and things changed. Now, here we are. Paramount and Warner Brothers are seemingly on an inevitable collision course to become one company. Looking at the new deal, according to Paramount themselves, quote, Paramount will acquire 100% of Warner Brothers Discovery for $31 per share in cash, plus the ticking fee, valuing Warner Brothers Discovery at $81 billion in equity value and $110 billion in enterprise value. So that ticking fee, I don't remember the exact number, but every quarter throughout the fiscal year that Paramount and Warner Brothers aren't one company, that the FCC approval hasn't gone through, Paramount owes Warner a certain couple $100 million as a fee, as a ticking fee. Like the time is ticking, make it happen type of fee. So not only, we're going to continue with what else they got. Not only are they offering all cash, $31 per share, they're offering this ticket fee. They raised the $87 billion offered by Netflix to $110 billion, closer to 111. They are also paying Netflix's breakup fee. Remember, when Netflix and Warner Brothers signed a deal in December, there was a $3 billion breakup fee. If you decide to go with Paramount, you pay us $3 billion. Paramount offered to pay that on behalf of Warner Brothers. So again, they're paying close to $111 billion in cash for the entirety of Warner Brothers. They're paying a ticking fee if they don't get this done in a certain amount of time, Paramount buying Warner Brothers, and they paid the $3 billion to break up Netflix. That's a lot. For those who
A lot of money.
haven't been keeping up, that is a lot. As explained by NPR, the road to Paramount's outbidding of Netflix may have been impacted by political ties. We will not harp on this, but it's something that was reported widely, so we're going to just outline it very quickly. As the connection between the Paramount-owning Ellison family and our current presidential administration is undeniable. We have outlined that a lot on the show. Again, we're not going to harp on that. It will be a point later, but a small point in a bigger story, so let us get through this. Yet, the same antitrust scrutiny that Netflix was going to face upon the initial agreement or throughout the regulatory process will now be turned to Paramount. So nothing changes. Paramount will face the same scrutiny that Netflix was going to. The difference is that will they have, from the FCC's perspective, will there be an easier path? That is the question being asked. Looking ahead, the deal not only has to clear, again, those same FCC guidelines here in the States, but will also have to be approved by regulators in Europe, who they worry in particular about the around $24 billion in funding promised from the Saudi sovereign money Paramount used to buy Warner Brothers. So $24 billion of that 111 around equity value was brought in from a Saudi sovereign fund, which the European regulators have a lot of worries about. California Attorney General Rob Bonta put his 2 cents on the deal as well, reminding everyone that his office still has a role to play and a voice to be heard in this M&A, stating, quote, these two Hollywood titans have not cleared regulatory scrutiny. The California Department of Justice has an open investigation, and we intend to be vigorous in our review, and that's according to Deadline. Other major bodies have also described their disdain for such a deal, as according to the Daily's newsletter. The Writers Guild states, quote, the combination is different, but the outcome is the same. Senator Elizabeth Warren states, quote, an antitrust disaster threatening higher prices and fewer choices for American families. And when in discussing what this will do, there's also been numbers against the promises going out by David Ellison. So let's talk about exactly what David Ellison has been promising, if you can remember. Paramount has promised 30 films releasing a year theatrically. A number that is hard to imagine once you add into the fact that the company will have to slash jobs to try to subtract from the aforementioned debt that they will be taking on from Warner Brothers, which is worth around $87 billion. So not only are they facing all this scrutiny, not just from the states, it might not be the FCC, but from the states themselves, which might file lawsuits if the FCC does overall approve, right? You have to go through regulatory bodies over in the EU and in Europe. And then on top of it, there's promises that might not be able to be kept from David Ellison himself, being that 30 films a year, because you have to think about like job output and slicing jobs. Less people to do those jobs, but you're still promising those jobs, even though you have to somehow get rid of that 87 billion, right? You have to make yourself more profitable. With so much against Warnemount even seeing the light of day, even current Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav seems to think that there's a decent chance he remains in control of his own company, stating in a leaked audio while at an employee town hall, quote, "If the deal falls through, we get $7 billion and we get back to work." So even Zaslav himself seems to think that there might be some reason to believe that he is still in control in about a year or 2 years and a half. Jake, what do we think? That's a lot of information. There's a lot of different things being thrown. Paramount officially buys Warner. A lot of scrutiny being thrown. A lot of questionable ties between those who own Paramount and the government. What do we think?
I think, I think it would be crazy that the deal fell through. I think there's going to be something that happens with the funding that Paramount's pulling in. I don't think there's going to be an antitrust issue with Paramount. I think there'll be talks, but nothing will amount. It will go through. I think Zaslav is out. I think it'll go through, and Zaslav is out. Who knows what the EU will say? That there could be a possibility where something happens in the EU and it like puts a dampener on it, and like they don't own, like they own 51% or something. I don't know. Like maybe somebody else comes in and bails them. But I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. But the EU's, I have more trust in them than our, I guess, government to bust that up.
At least bust it up overseas.
Yeah, well, that's where the funding issue is going to happen.
Yeah.
With the Saudi Arabia funding. And then I don't know. I think it would be funny if it all fell through and we just get Warner Bros. And like DC with like $7 billion in backing, which won't dig them out of debt. I don't remember how much debt they have.
87 billion from, I think that was Deadline is what they yeah.
Is that Discovery or is that Warner?
I think that's the whole company right now. Because remember, the whole point with the breakup of Warner Brothers Discovery was to saddle Discovery with the majority of that, and then Warner gets off with minimal. But now that's not going to happen. So Paramount's saying they're going to take it on. I don't know. My whole opinion on this.
30s.
They're in the
Warner Bros has in like the 30 billions, and then Paramount has 79, or it'll be combined post merger 79 billion.
That's crazy.
So Paramount's bringing in 40.
Yeah. My thing is,
but they're buying it. They're in debt, but they're buying a company.
This whole thing for me, this is exactly why we have antitrust laws. I don't know. I didn't do the research on this, but as I was doing my various readings, which by the way, we're going to have linked in the description. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 sources discussing this, ranging from NPR to Variety to Deadline to Netflix and Paramount themselves. We have a lot of sources on this, so please read up and let us know what you think. This is why we have antitrust laws. From what I had read, and I wish that I would have written it down and done deeper research into it, 40%. If this goes through, 40% of jobs in Hollywood will be impacted or run through this conglomerate. You're telling me that this is not worse for the consumer? This isn't going to raise prices for the consumer? Paramount Plus and HBO Max merging into one app won't raise the price for the consumer? You telling me that's competition? You're telling me that there is a good level of competition there? That the prices for the consumer will lower because of something like this? This is why antitrust laws happen. I feel like even if this is approved by the FCC and Brendan Carr, I feel like what's going to end up happening is you're going to have the Attorney General of California sue. You're going to have every other blue state sue. The thing is, it's not just blue states. The Supreme Court, which has a lot of red in it because it was appointed by Donald Trump in his first run, his first 4 years. What did they just do to our president, our commander-in-chief? They went against his tariffs. They said that they were unconstitutional. Mostly his own appointed Supreme Court went against his own ruling, which is great. That's checks and balances at work, right? If not for just straight up lawsuits from the rest of the states, and this is just within the states, on top of the EU regulatory system, right? I think you're going to have the Supreme Court will probably have a lot to say about it. Again, on top of this is why we have these systems and checks and balances in place, is to stop these things from happening. I don't think remind you, we talked about this before with Netflix. Warner shouldn't be wanting to sell in general. This is just what's best for their shareholders. They're just trying to make a quick buck. They don't care about what's constitutional. They don't care what's right for the consumer. They just want to make the most money. If it was right for the consumer, they wouldn't sell at all. They were the most profitable they've ever been, or at least this century, this past year. So I don't know. I think, again, my whole thought process is this is why we have antitrust laws.
Yeah, yeah, the 40% is kind of nuts. Where's Roosevelt when you need him with his big stick?
Speak softly. Yeah. No. Just
But yeah, what do you think Trump will say anything? I mean, he has said something, but you think
I feel like
that?
Reports conflict of whether, because at first he was like, we're going to take a look at this when Netflix was involved. And then he said, I'm not going to be involved. And then right before this happened,
I looked. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Right. Literally right before this happened, he said something like that. And then you have Brendan Carr talking about how he's happy how under, I can't remember their first name, but how CBS News under Weiss turned to correct fact-based reporting, which is a crazy thing to say from the FCC commission worrying about, like what side of the political aisle as a news station is reporting. And we're not going to get into that because, again, we've described that a lot about the news side of Warner Brothers going to Paramount, owned by the Ellison family. I just think there's a lot of problems regardless of political opinion, right? It's not whether or not it's left or right. The problem is that if they're impacted by any president ever, the problem isn't that it's one way that this president leads. The problem is that they're in the pocket of any president. Because news, because media, because film, because art should not be bought and it should not be swayed by political opinion. I feel like, yes, a political opinion should be within your art. I'm not saying that. But the idea of that you could be bought to try to sell a message through your art because of the political ties above you, that's completely anti-art for me. So, and news for that matter. So I don't know. I feel like if this goes through, let's say this happens. If this goes through, let's say old Donnie's voted out in 2028. You know what they're going to do? You know what Paramount or Warner will do? CBS, CNN, and all them, TBS, you know what's going to happen? They're going to swing as far left as they are right now. They will just swing the opposite way. And that's no better. That is no better. There's no point. The messaging will, in all their films, will change. And it will swing whichever way is in power. And I just don't think that's not art. That's not journalism.
Yeah. I don't know, Ryan. What if Beyond the Screen was bought?
Sponsored by crazy. I don't know where to go with that.
Sorry. No. Oh shoot. Yeah, sponsored by David. Not even Paramount. Not even Skydance. Not even.
Sponsored by
the Ellison family.
Yeah. Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro and whatnot.
Oh.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, we have no political ties.
The Kirk Foundation. Dude.
Yeah, we're getting into scary territory here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see this as a win for anybody. And the thing is, the prevalent thought going around the internet is in a lose-lose situation, we still somehow lost. Like, it doesn't matter. There was no winning here, and somehow we still came out on the worst side. So
do you think they'll just move everything to like red states, Georgia's and?
Well, Georgia's already got Atlanta, so maybe they'll move back. Yeah. But Atlanta, the thing is, Atlanta is a bright blue dot in a very red state. So that's a whole problem there. But I mean, like
Kentucky.
Yeah, our deeply red state with a bright blue governor.
Yeah,
it's just as bad.
Hey, they say he's going to run for prez.
I'm here for it. Old Andy.
Oh yeah, you want to lose the governor?
If it means
It's a
he'll
lose, dog.
if it means he'll do better federally, sure. Why not?
Yeah. Then we'll get a red governor.
That doesn't scare me as much as
And
you
then
think
Ryan's
it would.
gonna complain about it.
If he's bad at his job, yeah, but if he's good at his job, I won't care. That's kind of how that, like,
Alright.
again, going back to
Yeah.
this, if we just had someone who was good at their job, and I'm not even talking about Trump, I'm talking about like Brendan Carr, this shouldn't be a
Yeah.
thing. The FCC chairman should not be swaying which way a news station like CBS is reporting the news. That's absurd. Should not be threatening Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel how they present their nightly talk shows. Now we're going back a little bit, but the point is that the fact that this is a problem is why I feel like I have some apprehension for I do not believe this will get shot down. Like I don't have full confidence this will get shot down, and we should have full confidence this will get shot down. Letter of the law says this should not happen, but I cannot say whether or not it will. In fact, probably will happen. At least get approved by the FCC. Whether or not it goes beyond that because of all the roadblocks with the different attorney generals, the EU, like we had described earlier, that's beside the point. But yeah, it is sad. It is very sad from like a consumer standpoint, from an artist standpoint, from a media professional standpoint. This is a depressing state that we find ourselves in.
What are you gonna do, man?
I'll run. Vote for me.
Ryan's gonna run. Ryan's gonna say that shit out of him.
Yeah.
But what do you think's gonna happen with Gunn? Because everybody's asking all those questions about. It's like, what's gonna happen to DC? Is it gonna get shelved?
I've seen reports recently, and these are just headlines on like Instagram. So I've, again, unsubstantiated because I've not seen
Right.
anything other than these. So I only take them with a grain of salt. But that as of right now, he's supposed to stay, that the DCU is not going to change at all, and that under Paramount, it's just going to remain. But also remember, like 3 or 4 months ago, there was that conversation about the Ellisons talking with, I don't even remember who. It might have been Kreger, about making his own story within the DC, but not going through James Gunn, which would completely usurp any reason that you have the DCU, because it's supposed to be run by one person who has an idea for the story, or like one group of people who have an idea for a through storyline. So I feel like they will right now, a lot like what Netflix did whenever they were like, yeah, we're buying Warner Brothers, but we will release to theaters. I feel like they're going to say whatever makes them feel like, make people feel good right now, so they can try to drum up
Like
enough support.
30 plus a year.
Yeah, that's crazy business. Yeah, 30 plus films a year. We will keep James Gunn, and we'll release films to theaters all the time.
Do distributors hit double digit? I mean, I would assume they'd hit double digit, but 30 seems a lot for like an A24.
Well, yeah, for A24,
Disney.
but I would be,
like, does Disney hit 30?
I would say so. Hold on. Does Disney? Hold on. Release, because you got to think too. It's not just Disney. It's 20th Century. It's Searchlight. It's there's more. There's a ton. Does Disney release each year? Hold on. They released. So AI overview. So bear with me. I know this might not be an official number, but Disney releases a varying number of films each year across its brands: Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, 20th Century. It typically ranging from 10 to 20 or when including theatrical and directed to streaming. So between 10 to 20 a year. So this is effectively, if you count that as just 15 flat, you're effectively doubling the standard output of a major Hollywood production. So yeah, this is a lot. Now, are they saying they're going to release 15 Paramount, 15 Warner Brothers? Because that would feel a little bit more doable. Then all of a sudden it's just business as normal, and they're just running 2 studios, right?
They're promising the norm.
Yeah, they're like, okay, like each studio will release the average number of films a major studio releases, and we're just going to count them as double because we're technically owning them both. That could be what we're seeing. 10 to 20 films per, which would be, that'd be 20 to 40 films a year. That's
funny, man.
That could be very well what they are meaning by that, which is just corporate mumbo jumbo to make this doing the same sound better. But yeah, I don't know. I think that, again, I think Warner will say whatever I think Paramount will say whatever Paramount has to say to drum up as much support and to get the FCC to approve them beyond just their ties and beyond their lobbying. They want the people to say they want Paramount. I don't. Again, I feel like there's reasons we have laws against this, and beyond 40% of jobs, beyond the rise in pricing for the consumer. Think about
Beyond the screen.
beyond the screen. Think about 40% of all of Hollywood being owned from the theatrical business standpoint. Ticket prices surge. You can have direct control of the market, of the theatrical distribution system. That feels, again, that's another reason. Why would you allow this to happen?
Well, Ryan, money.
The last thing I want to see is G.I. Joe fighting, I don't know, name a person from HBO.
Well, there's already going to
Game
be a
of
G.I. Joe
Thrones.
movie.
Game of Thrones. G.I. Joe facing Ned
Teenage
Stark.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That could actually technically happen because they're both already owned by the same IP, but
Right. I thought that was already a thing.
no. G.I. Joe and Transformers are about to have a movie. Because they're already linked into the same universe. They have been for a long time, since I think the 80s.
They did a toy crossover.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, since the 80s. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. No TV shows, though.
Again, every week it makes a cameo. Big robot.
Oh, my God. That's a tiny
But-
robot.
No, that's big robot. But anyway, yeah, I fear for this. I fear for DC. I fear for just the prices of tickets at the movie theater. I fear for the prices of the subscription to get HBO, because HBO is the best streaming platform. I don't care what you think. I don't care what your opinion is. HBO flat is the best, just in terms of overall
You think
content.
they'll merge?
Yes. Without a shadow of a
Merge
doubt.
platforms?
Yeah, because if I had read correctly, a Paramount plus Warner Brothers or an HBO combination gives them 200 plus subscribers, 200 plus million subscribers. So
Who's getting whose app is getting? I prefer HBO's app.
money would say Paramount Plus will merge into HBO, but who's to say that Ellison wouldn't try to just put his Paramount, Skydance Paramount or whatever on top of it? You know what I mean? I would hope it's the former, but who knows?
Yeah, I hope it's HBO that gets the front end of the user experience. But
yeah,
that's unlikely.
I
I
just have
think Paramount will end up doing it.
I have so many worries, dude. I have so many fears, and it's less about political reasons other than the FCC approval, and it's more for just the average, the day-to-day life of someone who loves this type of stuff. Like, that is where I have worries. Is like, are my subscription right now? I have a free through my phone service. I have free HBO Max. Is that going to go away?
Big rich guy.
Is my ticket prices at the movie theaters, are those going to go up just so that I can go see the next, Top Gun, to go see the next Transformers, to go see the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? That is something I don't want. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully the content doesn't take a hit, and hopefully the FCC does what it's supposed to, but I doubt that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm more worried about like losing my HBO altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're not doing that phone plan junk anymore. No.
Yeah.
That's how I watch Sinners and One Battle After Another.
Yeah. The Pit, like going to TV shows, The Pit, Smiling
watched it.
Friends is on HBO.
I watched that. That's canceled anyway.
Yeah, well, not canceled. The showrunners stopped it, but I mean, like, it proves the point. Can you imagine you're scrolling through in 5 years? We're scrolling through the new Paramount Warner Brothers app or whatever, Paramount HBO, and it's like you see like The Sopranos, and right next to it on your recommended watch list is SpongeBob.
Spunk Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, we're just back to DirecTV versus Dish. Big two.
Yeah.
Big two.
Yeah. Disney Plus.
We're back.
Well, no, I guess we're still at 3. Disney Plus, Amazon, because Amazon's popping out some pretty good shows, but that's been a thing for
Apple.
a while. Oh yeah, I
know.
forget. That's 4. But we still have like a variety, I guess, but that's it.
Tubi.
Oh yeah.
And then what's the Mubi?
Mubi, I guess. There's another one that was owned by Warner Brothers as well.
Oh.
Hold on, what is that one called?
Eats me, dog. Robot Chicken.
Hold on. That's owned by I think that's
Warner
owned by HBO. Pluto TV. That's owned by Paramount.
Yeah.
That's owned by Paramount already.
And Howdy is owned by Roku.
Yes, but that's
I get that.
I doubt many people know what Howdy is. To be so for real with you.
Gunsmoke.
Do you know the only reason I know what that is? We're also off topic. We're about to end this segment.
Because it moves.
That's it. I was about to say that is literally it. I'll turn on my show or I'll turn on my TV and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to YouTube, Crunchyroll, HBO Max, or whatever, and I'll be like scrolling, and then out of the corner of my eye, I just see just one of the boxes going, wee, 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 and I'm like, what is? Oh, it's Howdy.
To own the platform that you're delivered on.
Hey, look at me. Oh, I'd be so obnoxious. I'd be so obnoxious too. Don't worry, Roku. I understand. I get you. I feel you.
I'd be doing backflips.
Yeah, I'd be. Yeah, you see the whole thing flip. I'd be like, whoa! Listen. I'd open that app if it flipped for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Roku, do your thing. If an app like on the Roku screen flipped for me, did literal backflips, you're gonna get an open. I'm not gonna watch anything, but you're gonna get it open.
Even if it was Howdy.
Here you go. Here's your metrics. Sure, I'll watch 5 seconds of Gunsmoke, whatever.
Hey, impressions.
Yeah, good for you. You guys won. You earned 1 impression and you earned an app open. Good for you. Like you made
Converted.
it flip. Yeah, you did it. You did it. You did the thing. You did a good job. Anyway, Paramount with Warner Brothers is like writing down vigorously, like
do backflips on it.
Yeah.
All right.
And with that out of the way, we're moving on past our second segment. Coming up after the break, we talk about what you should know before you go. Hello, and welcome to segment 3 of Beyond the Screen. You've made it past the box office. You've made it past our main segment where we yet again talk about Paramount, Netflix, and Warner Brothers. Listen, there's only a few things promised in life: death, taxes, and us talking about AI or Paramount. One of those 3 things, right? Like on our show. I feel like we've talked about those at length and at nauseum over the year and almost a half that we've been doing this. But thank you so much for being here, for being a part of our weekly routine, for allowing us to create in a way that is meaningful to us, that allows us to gather as friends and make this, we would call this art, maybe not, but just have fun and just have our conversation. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for putting us on your calendar every week. And like, subscribe, comment, share. Everything helps. Everything you do, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or to YouTube and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you listen on, it really does help out. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you so much for, above all else, thank you so much for listening. And with that out of the way, let's get on to our final segment. Look at here. An hour or 2 in, and we've got not a lot left. Look at us cutting down our runtime behind an hour and a half.
We killed a segment or so.
We did what we had to do to get it closer to you guys at home. So hopefully you noticed that we were trying very hard to get where we need to be. With that out of the way, for those who might not know,
hour of content.
Yeah, we'll try not to make that happen. Yeah, we go on rambles and we talk for another hour, which is not beyond us. We'll try to avoid that.
It's not beyond the screen.
For those, it is beyond the screen, actually. For those who have never been through our third segment and who don't know what you should know is, we will read to you the rest of the headlines from beyond this past week outside of our main news topic. So these are things that definitely deserve a deeper dive, definitely deserve to be mentioned, but might not deserve a full story, might not deserve a full segment just to describe or just to discuss. So with that, we'll go ahead and hop right in. You'll grab it very quickly because we have a lot of fun with it. I'm going to read you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 headlines, and we'll discuss them all, starting with the Producers Guild Awards. The PGAs have officially crowned one battle after another as their best picture. Yet another indication that Paul Thomas Anderson's drama is destined for an Oscar. The guy has won at the Gothams, he's won at the BAFTAs, he's won at the Golden Globes, he has now won at the PGAs, which is formerly, I think, the SAG or the SAG-AFTRA Awards. Now the PGAs. Every major indicator that could prove who's going to win the Oscars, PTA's latest film is proving to be on that metric. So unless something crazy happens, we might have our Oscar winner for Best Picture already picked out. Anyway, Christian Bale officially announced that he will star alongside Leonardo DiCaprio in Michael Mann's Heat 2. In video game news, Insomniac's Wolverine finally has a release date, planning to grace our screens September 15th of this year. The first look at Amazon's live-action God of War adaptation sends fans into an immediate frenzy as the posted imagery admittedly looks not great. With star Ryan Hurst taking to Instagram afterwards to post, quote, "Don't believe everything you see on the internet, kids." A new G.I. Joe film is reportedly in the works at Paramount. And lastly, this is the one you had to have heard of, so it's going to be the one we're going to start off because it's been everywhere on the face of the internet. Jim Carrey. Dramatic pause. Jim Carrey. There we go. Jim Carrey makes a rare public outing at the 51st Caesar Awards, with fans instantly noticing his altered appearance as the famous comedian's puffy and unrecognizable face raises alarm bells and speculation amongst fans. So for those watching on YouTube, you can immediately see the side-by-side of Jim Carrey about 3 or 4 years ago and Jim Carrey from this past weekend. And they do noticeably... There's a bit of a difference. I do want to outline that this is not the first time that people have raised speculation and questions about Jim Carrey's appearance, as he appeared at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in November, and he also kind of looked this way on the right. So this has been a couple of months brewing, probably 3 or 4 months in the wake or in the making, as Jim Carrey's appearance has drastically changed, with a lot of people speculating online that this is not Jim Carrey at all. They're saying that the government killed him and that that's a plant and that he just doesn't look the same and yada, yada, yada. So Jake, what do we think?
Yeah.
That Jim Carrey?
Unfortunately, I think it is a buttload of plastic surgery, because I do remember when he made an outing many moons ago, and everybody was saying, no, they destroyed his face. He can't make faces anymore. Botox literally ruins your ability to smile. And the whole point of the Grinch was that he had this crazy smile that only Jim Carrey could do. And you'll never be able to see it again.
I don't think we're going to see it again anyways, to be so completely for real. But I think this is a guy at the end of his career. You know, Sonic 4 is already filmed, so it's not like there's a lot going on after that, which this probably means Sonic 5, if there will be a Sonic 5, will be without Professor, or without Eggman.
Yeah.
But I understand, because the thing is this is a guy who made his whole entire career and whole entire like outward perception of, I am who I am. I will never get plastic surgery. I'm not one of you. I hate Hollywood. And he's kind of like framed himself as like,
but he got plastic surgery.
Right. He framed himself as the guy who he's every man's comedian, every man's actor. He's for the people type of thing. He's relatable because he is who he is, and he is just funny naturally. The problem is I do think he looked in the mirror one day and was like, oh, I am getting old, and maybe got a little self-conscious. And I think that's him. I think he got plastic surgery. I think he bit the bullet. I think he gave in. And I think he's having like not even a midlife crisis. He's 60 years old. He got like a 2/3 life crisis. And I think this is the result of that. I think it's unfortunate because as a guy who made his entire like career off of his facial muscles and movements and structure, that is like, you cannot replicate it. It's not something that can be done again. You kind of ruin that when you pump a bunch of plastic and Botox into your facial muscles.
Yeah.
But it is depressing. It really is. But the thing is, this guy's been wanting to retire anyway. So maybe this is his way of finally finding a way out. You know, like if he didn't feel like there was one before, I don't know. It's very upsetting. From just a fan's
Botox is a medicine. It's not even like,
yeah, it's
it's
supposed
literally,
to paralyze your facial muscles.
Yeah, it's a toxin that relaxes the muscles and reduces wrinkles.
If we show that image again, I won't even lie. I've seen everywhere online, and there's something we haven't talked about yet with more drama about this that we will get into. When I look at the left and right, I understand that doesn't really look like I understand that's drastically, and that a lot of people will say it doesn't look like him. I'll be so for real. It really does look like he just got his skin pulled back and tucked.
Yeah.
Like that does look like, I'm so sorry. I feel like it is, if you really don't think that's Jim Carrey, I think that's more of a denial because he's so beloved. That looks like Jim Carrey. Like it does. Like that is Jim Carrey with Botox and plastic surgery. Which is unfortunate, but that's who that is. It's him. So I don't know. I do not follow the whole that doesn't even look like Jim Carrey, because it does. It is very upsetting. It's very, very depressing, because the guy was, I mean, nobody's perfect, but he was perfectly fine the way he was before. And I feel like I heard this, one of our close friends made this point previously, is that major Hollywood and the fashion industry has made evil aging, right? Or aging evil, sorry. So it's like the idea of wrinkles is like the enemy. Whenever that's like,
Well, it means no work.
the
I mean,
point,
Halle Berry just came out with something where she couldn't get work because she turned 50, 40.
yeah. But the thing is,
Like,
too,
I
is
can only play grandmas now, and it's Halle friggin' Berry playing grandmas.
the point that
What
this
grandma
person
looks like
made-
that?
Yeah, the point that this person made, and it was so powerful, was that like aging should be like not an award, but something that is like prideful, because not a lot of people get to live to those ages. You know, like to be as successful as Jim Carrey is, to have had a career for as long as he has had, to be at the age he is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah.
You're talking about a 30 to 40 year career at Hollywood, being at the top of his game, still relevant across multiple genres, an award-winning actor. He deserves to wrinkle. He deserves to age. He deserves to ride off into whatever retirement he wants. And if this is what that is, then fine. But it's sad that if this is because he was like, the standard is that people with his status get plastic surgery to continue to look younger, that's where it's upsetting. That's a social standard that is very depressing.
And I don't agree with it. You should be allowed to fall off whenever you want.
Wait, listen, flaming hot take there. And I don't agree with it, says Jake. Thank you. But you're right.
Anyway.
You should be able to fall off however you want.
Especially if it's pumping toxins in your skin and becoming uncanny.
Poor guy. Anyway.
Now I can do more faces than Jim Carrey.
I feel like Ben Stiller just. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, what was that reference? Somebody already. Oh, I forgot. Never mind. Moving on.
You okay?
It was Blue Steel reference that like people are doing that now, but I don't remember what it was. Never mind.
No, it's okay. I wanted to give you room to try to remember. But
Nope. Not happening.
the next thing I want us to talk about, Amazon's live action God of War, because what's this drama that we got going on right here, man? Can we take a look at the latest from Amazon hyping up their latest show? On the left, Ryan Hurst as Kratos. On the right, I don't remember the child actor's name, I'm sorry, but Atreus.
Jeez.
This looks awful. This looks really bad.
It looks like his name is Sonny Soljic.
Mm-hmm.
I think, right? No. That's the voice and motion capture actor. Sorry.
Right.
Who's the Callum Vinson? Is that what it is? Callum. Okay. It looks like a home like something we would do.
It looks like cosplay.
Yeah, it literally looks like you've got a great makeup department and a wardrobe department. Like, you've got great departments behind this, but like it doesn't look real, I guess.
Yeah. This is a father and a son who has a wife and a mother who's very artistic, and they dressed up. They're going to Ren Fair or Comic-Con. They dressed up and they went out either out back and shot this, or they just stood in front of a green screen and just completely made this synthetically on like at their house. That's what this looks like. For those at home, that this does not look good. I think the art, again, like the makeup looks fine. Like the makeup looks great. But it really just, it looks fake. Like it obviously it's a video game adaptation, but we have seen successful video game adaptations before. This is missing the mark somehow. So following this image being released, the controversial image, again, Ryan Hurst took to Instagram, posting on a story, which he then screenshot and posted to Twitter and everywhere else because he just couldn't bother to retype it. He posted, "Don't believe everything you see on the internet, comma, kids." The thing is, if I remember correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that image that we just looked at, wasn't that posted by Amazon themselves? Didn't Amazon Prime themselves post that?
Oh my
Didn't
gosh,
they? Please
dude.
tell me I'm wrong about that
Don't
because
believe everything you see, even though it's posted by a
yeah.
reputable source.
Let me okay, Amazon Prime post God of War. And let me just see. Wouldn't it be funny if they deleted it?
Wasn't it?
Let's see here. Okay, IGN, what do you guys have to say about it? Kratos, yeah, image credit Amazon Prime Video. According to IGN, this image that we were just looking at came straight from Amazon Prime.
Prime
So
Video,
what are you talking about?
Instagram
What do you mean? Don't believe
posted.
everything you read online, kids. Like your boss released that, dude. This feels like when you work for corporate America and one boss sends you to another one and the other boss is like, "No, that's wrong." And you're like, "Bro, I'm just the messenger." You know, like
There's gonna be like some crazy CGI or some crazy something post production in this.
You know what this reminds me of? This like really what this makes me think of. This is very much Shrek 5. That's what this is.
You think?
Yeah.
You think it's gonna get delayed too?
I think in a month or so they will wait to they will delay it internally, but they will hold on to that. They'll lock and key, throw it away for a month and a half. Then they will release it later to say, "Oh yeah, after further examination, we realized we needed to postpone it for 6 months." And it's like, nah, you guys have known that you were going to do that for a while because you were redoing everything. I don't think Ryan Hurst technically looks bad, but again, he just doesn't look like Kratos. So, and that's not what we thought was going to happen when we first saw his like official announcement as Kratos. We were actually hype for Ryan Hurst to play Kratos. But if this is the best that they can do to make him look like the character, and then the thing is, he doesn't have to look exactly like the video game. Henry Cavill, not really resemblant exactly of Geralt from the game, you know, but we could believe it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think I can believe this is Kratos.
There is a credit. So I'm on Amazon MGM Studios press site. It credits I'm going to assume this is a Leah, could be Gallo, for Prime Video. Looked up Leah Gallo. She is a camera and electrical department actress, writer, but she's a still photographer mostly for like Tron Ares and Eternity, Dumbo, like basically a photographer on a lot of these sets. Came straight from her camera. Obviously a Amazon Prime and other distributors still photographer. And so this was taken on set. That's what it looks like in person. Not maybe not what it's going to look like on the screen to his point, but Ryan Hurst's point.
Yeah, maybe
I don't think it
that's
looks
what
good.
he means. Maybe that's what he means.
With all of the other castings, I love their castings. I hate to see that that's what it came out to be, but Balder, I think is his name. Great casting.
Oh, yeah. The casting in this thing is fantastic.
We've got Ed Skrein. He plays the who's he play in Deadpool? What's Deadpool call him?
I'm so sorry. I'm looking at Mandy Patinkin as like the casting that I think will make this as Odin. I didn't quite hear what you said. I was looking
Ed
up some more of
the Balder. He played Ajax, or what was his actual name in Deadpool? Anyway, that guy, he's hateable, man. He's hateable, and Balder is a hateable character as well in the at least in the video games. So I can't wait to see him play in that because he pisses me off to no end. So
yeah, I agree. I think the casting is still great. I don't know. I'd need to see more. This just does not. I will say Atreus as well, bro. So young, too young even. He doesn't look like the character from the game. Check out our socials for full cast list, by the way, beyond the screen or podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and more. Thank you for that ad read there, Emily. More. Here on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The tube.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably a good ending point for Amazon, but that is kind of how I feel about it.
Heat 2.
You want to talk about Heat 2? Heat 1.
I don't know about Heat 1.
Val Kilmer.
Yep. Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, that's it. Yeah. Heat 1's
Robert
fantastic.
De Niro.
There's a scene in it where Val Kilmer's reloading his I think it's an AK, and it's used in actual like gun safety courses because Val Kilmer does such a good job at actually like reloading and safely restocking the gun. Like his ability
Ashley
to
Judd?
use it. Yeah, Ashley Judd. You know she's from Kentucky. Yeah, the Judd sisters.
I didn't know that.
You fake Kentuckian, you.
Psh, whatever. I've been to Clooney's hometown. I've seen a house. It may not have been the house, but I saw a house.
The George Clooney's house. That's what
Maybe.
you sound like. That's what you sound like. Don't even know who Ashley Judd
Almost met
is.
his grandma. I was a few minutes late.
What?
Or his mom. Sorry. Anyway.
Anyway, Heat 2 is going to be great. It's a prequel / sequel. I'm not for sure exactly how the story will go, but it's got Leo DiCaprio and Christian Bale, which you cannot go wrong. Michael Mann's a great director. I look forward to that one. You know what I really want to talk about? And this will be the last thing we get into before we let these people go. Insomniac and Wolverine. How long have we been waiting for this game? It feels like it's been a millennium.
Too long.
Yeah, been way too long. Insomniac, for those who are video game inclined, they made the 2 Spider-Man games for the PS5. They're both fantastic. They made the Miles Morales quick spin-off game, not just Spider-Man 2, but I cannot remember what it was called, but there was like a half game in between Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Miles Morales as a playable character. I think about it just been called Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales. But all were fantastic. All were great. They announced a Wolverine game probably in like 21, maybe 22, but it feels a lot longer than that. And there's been,
it's been a while.
There's been a lot of like test footage released, and it looked terrible, which is natural for test footage whenever it's not even fully developed yet. So everyone was kind of dissing on it for a while. Got postponed. People thought that it was going to suck. The footage of it looks great from our early screenings, and now we finally have a release date. Jake, how much do you look forward to Wolverine?
They are not my type of games. I wish I got into the Spider-Man games, but I did not, unfortunately. But if they're made by the same people, I have no doubt that it will play very well. I'm looking up a gameplay trailer so I can actually see the video because I have not.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. Like I
have a hard time watching these trailers because a lot of it is cutscenes heavy. It's not actually gameplay.
With how good the Spider-Man games looked, I have little doubt that it will look aesthetically pleasing and that it will be a beautiful piece of art. I'm excited because back in the day, sorry, go ahead, Jake. I have something to look up.
It does, like, I think I am getting into a little bit of the gameplay, and it does look freaking nuts. Like, I think this is going to be one of those games that you can just come back to and just beat people up all the time. I guess that's kind of what Spider-Man is too. What's cool is like you actually see Wolverine tank shots because he's able to, which is interesting. It's an interesting way to play the game.
Yeah.
Where you don't want to get hit, but like I definitely saw Wolverine get stabbed in the shoulder before absolutely murking a guy. And he just took it and it was no problem, right? So how do health bars work in a game like this?
Well, you just I think your character just passes out and they just say you die and you restart, kind of like Spider-Man. But the idea is that like how you tank damage is different. I will say, so I grew up playing one of the worst X-Men movies of all time was X-Men Origins, but it spawned a fantastic video game in X-Men Origins Wolverine. You play as Wolverine, the Hugh Jackman version of Wolverine. And what was so cool about that game, I remember it like it was yesterday. When you took damage, you could see graphic imagery, I guess, description here. You could see like your body being withered away by you taking damage. So it's like at some point you could literally see your rib cage. Like there were like you were actually like you could see the bone structure of your hand
Huh.
because you were getting hurt. And that was how you saw your damage level, was depending on what your physical body looked like. And then when you would heal, it would cover back over. So something I would wonder how much they would take from that, because that was such a cool concept of like
Yeah.
this character does that. So why would you not show that instead of just he's has a health bar and his physical character never changes. So I would like to see something like that, but I've been waiting for a really good Wolverine game since Origins, and I really look forward to this because the last one was so fun. There was a scene where you like in that game where you took out a helicopter, like you just jumped right for it. You like kind of like stabbed into the side and you used your other hand to like saw off the propellers of the helicopter and you went down with it. It was really cool. Like it was really cool, like very original, very creative. Which you saw something like that in Origins anyway, but the way they did it was different. And so I really enjoyed that personally as a game, me being an 11, 12-year-old. But anyway, I've been looking for something like this for a long time, looking forward to something like this for a long time. And it coming from someone like Insomniac gives me hope that this will be a very, very good game. I do have a fear that they're going to be trying to make like another universe type, like I just want these games to exist. I don't really care if they cross over, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people probably want them to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I could not care less, dude. Like, I wouldn't mind an Iron Man game just because I think it'd be sick to fly around in the suits.
Yeah.
As like just like my little kid in me would like
Well,
to
at that
like to play
point,
that.
they should make a Superman or an Invincible.
Superman would be fun. There's not really been a good Superman game ever, to be honest with you.
No, people on Roblox are doing it better than literally the studio could.
Been a lot of really good Batman games. But the thing is, Spider-Man and Batman are easier because the power scaling's easier, right? Like you are a person on the ground that can take damage and you can put a health bar up and you can power scale that. With Superman, with Wolverine, with Iron Man, it's like, how do you necessarily do that? I think Iron Man's more doable.
Easy. Iron Man easy.
Iron Man's definitely more doable, but
He ain't
Superman,
that durable.
well, I mean, his suit is durable, which you wouldn't be out of the entirety of the game more than likely. But like, I guess like for the harder ones like Superman, you know what I really love? Such a niche. Give me a good Green Lantern game. Can you imagine that? Like that, like the combos.
How you gonna pull that off? How you gonna pull that off?
That you could do? Oh, come on. You're telling me you can't imagine that? Like a fighter where you have
That's the problem, is like I can imagine a multitude of items, but the video game cannot. We're gonna go back to the DS like Pictionary or whatever it was called. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't think you have to do it like that. Yeah. Okay, you can make there be a certain number of things you have to pick between, and like that's a part of your like skill tree set, is that the more you upgrade, the more things you can like throw at people. Instead of giant fist, you can create Gatling gun. But it's like, I don't know. Like I don't think you have to let the person playing exactly like draw what they want. That'd be sick.
I think it's a disservice to the Green Lantern's power to give me a set move set. Like, I have to unlock the Gatling gun because I can't imagine what a Gatling gun looks like.
Okay, but Spider-Man's the exact same. He can create a lot of different structures with his webbing, and you don't ever get the opportunity to do that other than predetermined sets. So I think it's the same.
But that's not his whole thing. Like his whole thing isn't making structures out of webs. His thing is fighting crime and shooting webs, and maybe they catch things sometimes. Green Lantern is constructs of a mind where I'm like, I want to make a skyscraper, I want to make a jet, I want to make a wall. I was like, if I'm gonna block something, let like in a Green Lantern, if I had a Green Lantern's ring, I would construct different things than Ryan would. And the problem with a video game is you've now pigeonholed me into this character's mind, and I'm going to say that he is not going to do it right. And that is the reason I am like, because through a step-by-step story, you're going to have your blunders and your failures, and that's just the way the story goes. Whereas I would argue, I would not have constructed that. This is not how the story would go. I am pissed off because if I had give me the lantern, like,
you get me in there.
Like the whole like with Kilowog, right? I think that's his name. When he trains Ryan Gosling. No, not Gosling. The other guy. Who was it?
Killmonger.
Reynolds. Killmonger. Was it Killmonger?
Wait, no. You're talking about. What are you talking about? Kilowog. What are you talking about?
The Green Lantern with Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, back in the day, I don't remember. Sorry, I didn't realize you were talking about the Green Lantern, like the movie.
Only as powerful as it was. Was it Killmonger?
No. Killmonger is a Marvel character.
Kilowog
I thought you were
lantern.
changing topic when you said the name. I thought you misspoke.
Kilowog. Kilowog is a pig-like man, but he was given Ryan Reynolds the works at the beginning of the movie when he first got his ring, because he couldn't imagine anything greater than Earth's items like a jet or a gun, whereas Kilowog was wiping the floor with him, and he created a sun that almost killed Ryan Reynolds just training him for the first time. So like that's what I mean, is like it's only as like the bounds of your mind as well as how you use those items and how strong they are is dependent on your will.
I still feel like there's I get that. I still feel like there is a route to making a game like that. Maybe not to that extent. A game like Green Lanterns is what I'm getting at.
I think it does it a disservice, is what I'm getting at.
I don't feel like there is a way to go. I don't know. I would like to see. I'd like to see it happen. But that is a good point. I do want to see a good Green Lantern game though.
Keep wishing, bud. I
Jake's like,
don't think it's gonna happen.
Too bad not playing.
Well,
I think there's a lot of money to be made from that though.
Green Lantern video game. I want to see if anybody's
you know there's
done
going to
it
be
yet.
one from Ryan Reynolds' movie. You know there's going to be one.
There is.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
Rise of the Manhunters. Trying to find it. Sorry, dead air. It's a DS game.
Yeah. Wait, what? No, I'm seeing it for 360.
Yeah.
In Wii. Oh, it looks. Oh, odd for the Wii. They use that old Cartoon Network series. They used that as the replacement for Ryan Reynolds. In the 360, they used. So
he has a sword and Hulk fists, and he can pick enemies up and throw them, and that is your moveset. That is it.
Look up. And maybe this is something to do off air, but I played growing up Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, and I felt like there was as a kid, I felt like there was a good rotation of moveset that you could do, like a Mortal Kombat style, using Green Lantern. Like you could manipulate and like create brick walls out of the ground that pop up and act as a shield. Your stereotypical big fists, guns type stuff. But there were some other things too that I found fascinating as a kid. I need to go back and play that game, but that might be something that you find interesting as well.
Mayhaps, but I'm not impressed with what's out there right now.
Bro's not impressed.
Unfortunately, I'm not.
And with that, my friends, I think we're done with Beyond the Screen. Do you have any final thoughts before we allow our people to head on through the rest of their week?
Be watching the Oscars movies, because if you even watch maybe 5 of all of the movies, you will have watched more than most in the attendance of the Oscars.
Yeah. If you focus
I would like to point that out once again this year.
Focus on most of the 10 Best Picture, you will have seen the majority of the nominees throughout the entirety of the categories. Really.
What I'm getting at is you'll have seen more movies or more of the Oscar nominations than the individuals who are attending it in person.
Yep.
Even more than the individuals who voted or nominated the ones in the Oscar. I think that's an important thing to point out every year, until these people start watching the dang things they're voting on. Are you kidding me? I feel like an immeasurable amount of guilt. Like if I don't watch a movie, like for the Oscars, we did this last year, I missed a lot of the movies, and it's like I can't comment on that. I don't feel like I know anything about it. And I'm going to do it a disservice by saying, oh, I've not seen that. I'm going to put it lower, when arguably it could be the best thing I've ever seen. Just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And so there's a reason Elio is nominated for an Oscar. I'll just put that out there.
Terrible movie, dude. Have you ever sat down and watched Elio yet? Have you seen that yet?
Oh,
Dude, it's not very good.
really?
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's okay. Anyway, we'll get off this topic. With that out of the way, have fun. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye.